Back in the day, we did a 2-week backpacking trip where we each carried packs that weighed about 60 or 70 pounds.
What the heck were we thinking?
Since then, we've backpacked thousands and thousands of miles, including 2 walks from Mexico to Canada, and we've learned a whole lot about what's actually important to bring for a fun and comfortable trip.
Nowadays, our packs weigh about 10 pounds each, plus food and water, which can vary.
So let's take a look at what we've learned here. 5 things that never make it into our packs anymore.
Along with 5 things that come on every single trip. Some of the things in this list can be a little controversial, so stick around and let us know what you think.
Alright, so this is a tub of our old backpacking gear. Let's take a look at those 5 things we no longer bring along. Books and games.
It's a good book though.
Yes, it's a good book, but I would recommend reading it at home and not bringing it on the trail. And games seem like a great idea, but we've learned that we never actually have the time or energy to play games. This one we brought on that 2-week backpacking trip and just never played it once. We were having too much fun looking at landscape and scenery, and we're also just too tired.
All right, so what I've got is a backpack that's full of things that we do bring no matter what. And first item I want to show you is our tiny kitchen. It's right there. We love cooking on the trail. That's the whole tiny kitchen. A spork, a pot, a stove, and fuel. Here comes the pot, the teeny tiny stove, and the fuel. The reason we like this so much is because it's multi-purpose. So I drink my coffee out of this pot in the morning, so does Renee. We eat out of it, I take a bite, Renee takes a bite, we cook in it, it works multi-purpose, and we cold soak in it because it has a sealable lid. And so this is our wonderful kitchen. We've done a few trips where we are not interested in cooking, just in cold soaking. So in that case, we change up the tiny kitchen a little bit and we go with this tiny kitchen.
A tinier kitchen.
Even tinier kitchen and lighter kitchen. No stove, that is what we use as the cold soak jar. Renee used this on the PCT Oregon FKT. I used it on the Ozark Trail FKT. And the reason we chose this jar is because you can roll with it. So when I'm not eating, it's still double purpose. I use it as a muscle roller. It works surprisingly well. Highly recommended. So there's our tiny kitchen. We always bring it on every single trip, no matter what.
Another thing we no longer bring is a solar panel. We've tried it on multiple trips and we've just found it doesn't work. You think you could put it on top of your backpack and it'll charge your phone, but just with the varying light, unless it has a spot to sit in perfectly direct sunlight for hours on end, we found that they just don't work for us.
We do bring them on car camping trips because straight up in the sun, they kind of work, but not backpacking. Instead, what we always have, really mean always, is a simple power bank. These things, we charge them in town or we charge them at home before we head out. Then they power our watches, they power our phones for maps, they power emergency satellite beacon, they power our headlamps. You need power out there. A simple 10,000 milliamp power bank is the one we usually go with. There are some trips, especially if we're filming more, we'll use a little bit bigger one, but for regular general purpose backpacking, one 10,000 milliamp power bank each is perfect.
Another thing we no longer bring is heavy water bottles or water bladders. It's interesting because these are marketed as great products for the outdoors, but you know, these heavy insulated Yetis and Camelbacks, they're just too heavy to be practical while backpacking. Another thing is these water bladders, which are also marketed as a must for backpacking, but they don't work for us. You have to store them in your backpacks, which makes them harder to access. You also can't monitor your water consumption, so you could be drinking too little, or worse, drinking too much, and then you run out of water and get yourself in trouble. So we leave these behind. Instead, we bring disposable water bottles. They work perfect. They're on the outside of our packs, and we can monitor our water consumption.
The next thing we bring on every single trip is a bag full of layers.
We do not bring a change of clothes. We wear the same outfit every day.
Except for socks and underwear. We do change our socks and underwear, and they live in the bag of layers. We also have a base layer. We each have a base layer, and that's really important to sleep in. So we always have it. It keeps you a lot warmer at night while you're sleeping. We have appropriate warmth. Whether it's a light jacket, a heavier jacket, or a really heavy jacket, depending on the season. And always, always, always rain gear. It's funny that I say that because Renee often has to convince me, yeah, we should bring our rain gear even though there's no rain in the forecast. Especially if you're backpacking in the mountains, there's always potential for rain in the forecast. It comes when you least expect it. So we don't forget our layers.
Another thing we no longer bring is hiking boots. Ancient wisdom tells you you must wear hiking boots if you're going hiking or backpacking, but we found that that just isn't true. In fact, hiking boots are just bulky and heavy. It's like you're walking with weights on your feet. They're also not very quick drying. If you get these wet, they're gonna be wet for days. They just don't dry out fast. Additionally, they're just not comfortable. So
Not even a little bit.
instead, we just wear our trail running shoes, light and dry quick. So yeah.
People say that these, you need them for the ankle support, but it's funny, if you compare the foot of this, it's narrow. That's like, most hiking boots have this narrow bottom that you roll around on top of. And if you compare it to your typical trail runner, I've got a much better platform here. I find that I roll my ankles much less in a trail runner, despite the complete lack of ankle support, than I do in a hiking boot. I hate these things. Yeah, put those in the trash. The next thing we always bring is in here. It's a sleeping pad. Usually we put that on the top of the pack, but I put it inside for effect. We sleep on these, they keep us warm, they provide a little bit of comfort. We really like these closed foam large sleeping pads as opposed to the inflatable kind because those pop. You will never see us on a trip without our sleeping pads. Something else we use them for is to sit on, especially Renee. So instead of a chair, we're bringing along a sleeping pad. You can sit on it, get some extra comfort, and you'll notice a theme. This is at least the second item I mentioned that is multi-purpose. It's a bed and a chair. We bring that on every single trip. So before Renee tells you the most interesting and most controversial thing we leave behind, I'm gonna show you the fifth thing we always bring on every trip, which is water filtration. This is a hollow fiber filter. This is another hollow fiber filter. This is another hollow fiber filter. I wanted to show all of them. We're bringing one each, and this is to make water safe to drink from almost any source. It filters out biologicals, including bacteria, things like Giardia. Some of these filter out most viruses. So we've never gotten sick on a trip, and we've had some shady water.
And we've been around other people in the same stretch of trail who have gotten Giardia.
Yeah, we've actually met lots of hikers who are convinced that they don't need a water filter, and many of them get sick. Or the other thing is, high mountain streams can sometimes look so clean and pure that you don't need a water filter, but that is wrong. Animals like marmots up in the mountains carry Giardia, and sometimes the cleanest looking streams are actually the ones where you're most likely to get sick. We're always filtering. That's our favorite filter, the Platypus Quick Draw. Always have a water filter. So now you can show the number one most controversial thing we never bring on a trip.
A huge first aid kit.
Bum, bum, bum.
This thing is just insane. We do not bring a huge, big, bulky first aid kit that cures all and everything and will save us no matter what.
We do bring a first aid kit.
I don't even know why we have it.
I was looking through this. It's got empty bottles. Those come in your first aid kit from the store. It's got a syringe. I don't think we need a syringe. It's got nothing to put in the syringe.
Yeah.
It's probably got a bunch of expired medicine because it's been sitting in a drawer for 10 years. Often people say you need a big first aid kit to save yourself out there. But if you don't put thought into your first aid kit, you might as well not have it. Why carry stuff just because somebody at the store said it's a good idea? Look, we've got a book in this first aid kit. I noticed this earlier too. A book, Wilderness Travel and Medicine. Like, not a bad idea to know wilderness travel and medicine, but if you've got an emergency, you're not reading the book.
Yes, we're not bringing this huge,
heavy, it's probably 5 pounds.
Wilderness first aid kit with stuff we don't even know what it is or how to use. It's looking a little light because there are things missing from it, because rather than bringing this store-bought, all-encompassing, theoretically, wilderness first aid kit, we make our own first aid kit.
I've got it right here. That's our first aid kit. It weighs almost nothing compared to the huge one. It's got intentionally chosen items that we're actually potentially going to use on the trail. It's so much smarter.
Just little bits of everything that we find important or we need.
And our philosophy is we can't put a hospital in our backpack. If something serious happens, we just need to protect ourselves while we get to a hospital. And therefore, everything in here is thought through. It's gonna hold us over, and we're going to the hospital if there's an emergency. It's not irresponsible. It is just thought out. You don't need to carry the kitchen sink to save yourself on the trail.
So not everyone's gonna agree with this list, and that's totally okay.
This is just the set of learnings that we've made that apply to us over the last 10 or 15,000 miles of backpacking on trails. And if you have a different opinion, let us know in the comments. We'd love to learn what you do or don't bring and what you think we got right or wrong in this video. And if you like this video, please subscribe. It's a great way to support us. We have a lot more videos from the past and coming up in the future of us using this exact set of stuff out on the trail. See you soon.